This is the desert. It's not the entire desert, but it's a piece of the desert. In the desert, the wind blows and moves the sand, and the hills move and the terrain changes. In the desert, it's hot during the day and cold at night. People wear special clothing in the desert to keep them safe from the sun and to keep them warm at night. In the desert, it can be very dangerous. So people don't go into the desert unless they really need to. Lots of stories in the Bible happen in the desert. And this is the holy city of Jerusalem. And this is the temple in the holy city. And these are the people of God. They live in the holy city, and they pray to God in the holy temple. And the people of God know that if they pray to God in the temple, that God is with them in a special way. Because God was in the temple. And then the Assyrians came. The Assyrians came and they fought a battle against the people of God. They wanted to take the city of Jerusalem. But the walls of the city kept the people safe. And though the battle was hard and some people died, eventually the Assyrians went home. And later, people from Babylon came. The king of Babylon, he wanted the holy city for himself. So he fought a war against the people of God in the holy city. And eventually, he knocked down the walls. He knocked down the walls of the holy city. And he burned the temple. And then as the smoke was rising from the burning temple, with the crumbled walls behind them, the king of Babylon marched the holy people of God across the desert. Only a very small number of people were able to stay in Jerusalem. And when the king of Babylon, he marched the holy people of God across the desert, the people had to work when the soldiers said work. They had to walk when the soldiers said walk. They had to eat when the soldiers said eat. They had to sleep when the soldiers said sleep. They were not free. And they wondered if they ever could go home again. And the king of Babylon said they couldn't. He said they couldn't go home. They were in exile. And the people of God wondered where God was with them if they couldn't be in the holy temple. So at first, whenever they prayed, they'd still look to the holy city of Jerusalem because they knew God was there. And then over time, they realized a new thing. That whenever they were together and they told their stories and they read their scriptures, and they sang their songs, that God was with them there as well. And as time passed, the king of Babylon, he let the people live their lives. So some started shops, and some started farms. They had families. And as time went on, finally the king of Persia came. And the king of Persia fought a war against the king of Babylon and finally defeated him. And the king of Persia said to God's people, "You can go home now." And it took them a while. First, some went with the prophet Ezra, and they went home to the holy city, and they rebuilt the temple. And some more, they went with the prophet Nehemiah, and they rebuilt the walls of the city. And some decided to stay in Babylon, but they knew they could go home, so they were no longer in exile. And now everyone knew, those who were in Babylon and those who were in the holy city, that God would be with them always. Whether they were at home or whether they were away from home, whether they were in the holy city or the holy temple, or whether they were just sharing their stories and their scriptures. They all knew God would be there. I wonder what part of the story you like best. I wonder what part of the story is about you. I wonder what this part of the story connects with your life right now. I wonder where you are part of this story.